And once again, thanks Rosemary for setting this up and for Nyack Library. And welcome everyone. Thank you for coming hopefully back. Hopefully you did the first round. If you didn't by any chance, you can do this class, just take your notes and everything, and then you can go back and review the first one, okay? Because that covered a lot of the basics of the camera. So today we're going to be focusing on a software which I think is the best editing software out there. It's called Snapseed, and I think a lot of you probably have downloaded it. If not, you can probably still do it. It downloads quick. So we're going to do this together. So what I'd suggest right now is bring a picture into your camera, or take a new picture, or just bring a picture into your camera that you'd like to do some work on. Maybe it's too dark, maybe it's too light, maybe it needs to be cropped or sharpened or something else, right? So keep your cameras going, your phone cameras, not your Zoom cameras, through the class, and just follow along with the different steps. We're going to try to cover as much as possible. Snapseed is a very deep program. There's a lot of stuff in there, and it's probably impossible to cover it in one class, but I'm going to address what I believe are the most useful ways to edit your photos, okay? So now I'm going to go and screen share, and I'm going to hook up my phone. All right. And there we go. So down there near the bottom, you'll see Snapseed. So we're going to touch on that, and I have a photo ready that we're going to work on retouching, okay? So that's how it looks when you open a photo in Snapseed. And let's go over that again about opening a photo. I'm going to use my mouse here. You see up on the top here it says open. Any photo that's currently in your iPhone camera at the moment will be the one that opens, okay? If you want to open another one, you have different options here. Open from device, which means you can go through all the photos on your camera and pick one, right? You just scroll through all your photos and pick one you'd like to work on. The other option is take a new one with your camera, and then the final option is open the latest image. Now the latest image would be the one you're currently working on in your camera settings, okay? Maybe you did some cropping or something like that to get the photo ready for Snapseed. All right, so this is the one that we chose. All right, where'd you go? Oh, sorry about that. That's not what I want. There we are. Okay. So, how do we start? Where do we start? Okay, so let's go down the bottom here, and you have three choices: looks, tools, and export. Right now we're going to work with tools. Press on tools, and this window comes up. These are all the ways you can edit pictures in Snapseed. Each one of these does a different and unique thing, right? Now, it looks kind of overwhelming. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, geez, this is going to be a nightmare. But you have to just start somewhere. So the basic place we need to start, I'm going to go up to the upper left where my mouse is showing, and it says Tune Image. Tune Image, or Tune, as some people say. So We press onto an image with our finger. That's how you open these. You simply put your finger over to an image, and a different menu opens. Now you see down the bottom here, up the top it says brightness, and down the bottom you have X for canceling and click for confirming. We're going to work with this little window here. You see these little lines down the bottom here. Okay, we're going to touch on that with your finger. Just a gentle touch. And this menu comes up, right? Now this is what I remember. You remember what I said about editing in the camera? This is a very important point. When you edit in your iPhone camera, which is pretty decent editing, the problem is you can't reverse it. Once you click OK, that photo, the original photo, will be gone, right? Snapseed, you can do anything you want. You can't break anything. Your original photo is still back in the camera. It's still the way you shot it. So if you want to go back to that, it's always there. So this way is you're going to change the photo. If you don't like it, you cancel it. If you do, you keep it. Okay? So I was talking last time about going for a walk, which hopefully all of us can do near where we live. A park, by the water, just a neighborhood walk. I try to walk every day. And I shot this photo just walking down the road from where I live. It's a couple of months ago when the flowers were out. And there's quite a few things wrong with it. So let's have a look. Okay, let me point out a few things that I don't like. All right. I don't like these wires at all. That's just horrible. Why would you want those in a photograph? The telephone pole, yuck. Not pretty. And this bit of road, it's just F, you know. That's a kind of an F photograph. So here's what we're going to do. One by one, we're going to go through the different ways we can change this and make it the way we want it to be. So back to your little line down the bottom here, these little 3 lines. Touch that again. The first one says brightness. You see up in the top here where my mouse is? It says brightness. Now watch what happens when I slide my finger across the screen. You see, you can make it brighter, you can make it darker, just sliding your finger. Right? So let's say that's too bright for me. I like it a little, colors a little richer, maybe starting point about there. Okay? Everyone got that? So that's the first part of this menu. The second part, and by the way, you just slide up to the next one with your finger. See, I'm just moving my finger up and down. Okay. The second one is called contrast. Contrast is very, very important because in my experience, most of the photos that come out of the iPhone are a little flat. In other words, they don't kind of pop, right? And they do that on purpose because they kind of average everything out. So we want it to pop a little more. So go back to our little menu. You see contrast, and now you see contrast is up on the top, right? So we're going to slide our finger over to the right and watch what happens to the picture as we see how when you do it too much, it looks like that. So we want to get just a little bit more contrast, maybe about that much. There's the before, there's the after. How did I do that? Press your finger on the screen, hold it, and there's the picture before you made the change. There's after the change. Not a dramatic change, but some change. Okay? The third one we're going to look at is called saturation. This is a very big deal because this boosts the color in the photos. So now you see up in the top we have saturation. So watch what happens to the colors of the flowers. By the way, I'm zooming up using my, what I call my claws. Just squeeze the screen. Just squeeze the screen like that to zoom. You can zoom in and out. By the way, when you're editing in Snapseed, it's a really good idea to zoom everything up because it's a very small screen. You don't want to be like straining your eyes looking for stuff. It's much easier to edit this way. All right. So watch what happens to the flowers now as I use saturation. See, watch the colors change. Look at that. Of course, that's way too much. You don't want to go too far, right? Moderation. So let's go back to a place where there's where we start. Now we're just going to add that much. Before, after. You see the subtle difference there? Much better color. The red bricks are nicer. The greens are nicer. Everything's good. By the way, to get back to your regular focus, double tap with your finger. Just ping, ping. And the photo goes back to normal size. Roll it up again. Use the crab claw and zoom it up. Got that? Any questions on that? All right. So next, back to our little menu. We're going to use Aviance. It's one of my favorites. It does some interesting things. Watch what happens when I slide from right to left. Left to right. Look how all the shadows sort of become lighter. Now again, you don't want to do it all the way over. It's too much. You just want to add a little bit of these things, right? Some require a lot more than others, but this one, we just want to keep it kind of subtle. So maybe just a little touch like that, all right? Before, remember how we got before? Just keep pressing on the screen and then release. After, before, after, okay? All right, now the next ones down here are highlights. That preserves tones that are in the lighter side. There's not much here to do with that. It looks fine for me. I wouldn't want to make it brighter like that. That's the way we started. So I really don't want highlights at all. In this picture, very useful in other pictures, not this one. And then shadows, same thing. You don't want to go too far because that's what it looks like. So maybe a little bit. Sorry about that. Go away. Thank you. Okay, so there we are. Before, after, and the very last one is called warm. Well, I don't really need warmth. It's already a bright sunny day, so we don't need warmth. If it was an overcast day, you might want to add some warmth just to warm the colors up a bit. But for now, we're finished with this menu, okay? Finished with this. So if everything looks good, you think, okay, that's the way I want it. You click this little button down here, the little click, and it locks in those changes for you. All right? So there's our first retouch. There's the original. There's the now this is a very subtle one. It's not, sometimes my edits are much more intense. This is very subtle, not dramatic changes, but better overall. Next thing we want to do is crop it. I want to get rid of that telephone pole. So how do we do that? Okay, now we go down here to Tools, Tools, touch that with your finger, and on the upper left, you see the word crop. This is called the crop tool, okay? All right. So let's look at the options here. You have all sorts of automatic crops. Just click on one of these boxes and it automatically crops like that. But I want to crop it manually. In other words, I want to control the crop myself. So here's how it works. On the four corners of the picture, place your finger and drag it around. Right? You see those white little triangles? They're on every corner. You can crop from the bottom, from the side, right? So what I'm going to do now is just make a crop that we can work with. I want to get rid of the telephone pole. And I want to get rid of most of the road, but not all of it. I want to keep the grass there because I kind of like that. Okay. So that's about right. Okay. And there's the crop. There's before. Hold your finger down, let it go. See the difference there? I got rid of a lot of stuff. All right. So that's the crop we're going to work with. That's the picture. Now, I don't know if any of you managed to get one of these stylus tools. I think we mentioned it last time. Now, you can crop with your finger just on the screen. But if you want to get fine detail, it's very useful to have one of these. Okay. They're not expensive. 15 bucks maybe at Amazon. There's all kinds. Get the simple kind. Don't need batteries or anything. So we're going to clean this picture up now. So the first thing I want to do is get rid of those horrible phone lines, power lines. So where do we go to do that? All right, we go back to our tools menu down the bottom. Open tools, and this is one of the really magical tools. This is a Photoshop tool that it included here. It's right here. It's the third one down on the left. It's called healing. Healing. Right? So I'm going to touch on that with your finger, and voila, you're in the healing tool. So let's look at a couple of things here. This is a very simple tool. This is to undo something you just did, and this is to redo something you just did. This is to cancel altogether, and this is to confirm the edit. Right? Everyone got that? It's very simple. So we're going to start with those power lines. And so how do we do that? Well, remember I said you'll have to zoom up. So again, claw fingers, make the picture bigger. You have to be able to see what you're doing. Okay. So we're going to start. Oh, geez, please go away. Any YouTube messages. Sorry about that. Trump is everywhere. Oh my God. Sorry about that. All right, so let's go back here again. Did we get out of that? Wait a minute. All right. Okay, we're going to start with this line here. Okay. So here's how the healing brush works. You simply touch on the line and you drag your finger or your pen, and the line is gone. How about that? There's another one right below it. See it? Gone. Let's move to another one. Now, by the way, this is a very useful idea down here. The little blue box allows you to move all over the picture just by going inside that little box. See what I mean? I'm just moving my finger around. I want to be able to work. But if you do something you don't like, you just cancel it. I want to be able to work on those lines up at the top, so I have to zoom it down a bit. All right. So we're going to work on these lines now. doesn't always work out as neatly as you want. Again, it's better to zoom up bigger than I did, so how come you're stuck? Okay, let's try that again. That's a little better. Sometimes you have to, you know, mess with them a bit to get it right. There we go. That's not bad. I like that. Another one there. All right. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but here we are. See, isn't that better already? No power lines, right? So what else can we do? Well, I'm not crazy about this piece of road here, you know, so let's fix that. Do that again. Here's how you undo, by the way. Remember I said this one here, if you do something you don't like, just watch what happens. It just undid what I did. Or let's redo that again. There we go. So I'm going to mag it up because it's easier to do when it's bigger. Okay. Sorry about that. Slipped away. Okay. Let's tidy it up a bit. Do that. Okay. Better? Okay. So we like this. We go down here and we say, okay, I like that. Click OK, and there you go. You're no longer in the healing tool now. You're back to your window again. Before, after. Before, after. Okay. So what next? Let's see. We're going to look at a tool called Brush over here, second from the right, Brush. Okay, very, very useful tool. Very useful tool. Okay, let's talk about this. Press on Brush, and this window opens. The ones I use the most are the ones on the left and the right. I don't use those in the middle much at all. Okay. So what do we want to do here? Well, let's look at saturation, this brush here. When you touch a brush, by the way, it becomes blue. That's the active brush. If you touch another one, then that becomes the active brush. All right. Now, what is this stuff down here? Just pay attention to this because this is very, very useful and very easy to use. If you want to do something full strength, you do it at +10. If it's a little bit too much, you can go down one step to +5. Just by clicking the little down arrow where my mouse is. If you want less than that, you go down there. That's an eraser, and then you can go darker. You just want to go darker. Now it's -10 instead of +10. Okay. So what I want to do here is increase the color of the red brick wall. Okay, just a little bit more reddish. So we're going to use Saturate for that, because Saturate adds color. Remember we did that in the tools menu, tune menu. Okay. We're going to start with Saturate. Now, as far as how strong I want it, I don't want it full strength. I don't want it at +10. There's the tool we're using. Saturation. Everyone got that? Saturation. It says +10. I don't want it that strong. So I'm going to go down one step to +5. I did that by pressing on this arrow here with your finger. This arrow here. All right. You get +5. And now I'm going to take my stylus and I'm going to paint on the wall. See how the color changed there? And again, I'm using the tip of this stylus to do that. You can use your finger for most things. This helps to work in small spaces. All right. So I like that. I might want to darken the corners up here, but we have another tool for that, but I might just do a little bit while we're in the brush menu. So we're going to go to another tool, going to go to the Dodge and Burn tool. All right. Again, the one that's active is blue. It's always blue. Now again, if I want to make something darker, then I need to be minus. So I need to move down and see what -5 looks like. Again, I did it with a little down arrow. Here's how you get it back to 10, right? You touch the other arrow and it goes back to 10. We want -5. We're making something darker now, okay? So I'm going to paint with my brush the upper corner here. I just want it a bit darker, just to make it contrast, right? So I'm painting all along the upper right and left with my brush. See how it's gotten quite a bit darker there? All right. And that's all we're going to do in here. So we click our arrow, and there it is, okay? All right. So let's have a look at before, after. Completely different picture. Okay. So is everyone okay with what we did here, all the different steps? We used the healing tool to get rid of the phone lines, the power lines. We used the brush tool to darken to change the color of the bricks to a brighter red. And then we darken the corners with the brush tool also. Brush tool is very, very nice, very useful tool. All right. So what next? Let's look at our menu. Lots and lots of choices here, but since we're in a time crunch here, we're going to move along and try to use as much of these as possible. So the next one we're going to look at is kind of a finishing tool. It's called Vignette. It's down here. It's the one on the right down here, Vignette. So touch your finger on that.
Hey, Richard?
Yes.
We have a couple of questions about the, do you mind if I ask,
Please,
interject?
yeah.
Someone, Ira, wanted to know if you're using the stylus for all of these actions that you're showing right now?
Yes.
Okay. But you can use your finger if you don't have a stylus.
Absolutely, yeah. Yes.
And someone, Colette, was asking how you change, is this possible to change the size of the brush tool? Or is it always?
It's always the same size, and the only way you can affect the size is to zoom the photo up while you're working with the brush tool. That makes the brush tool smaller and smaller the bigger you zoom up.
Okay.
So the brush tool is always the same size, but if the picture is zoomed up, then the brush tool becomes smaller. See what I mean?
Yes. And someone else asked just one more. How do you get to the before? Do you just touch your picture and it shows you what it used to look like?
Yes, let's get out of this tool. Okay, there's the finished retouch we did. We went from to an image, right? That's the first thing we did. Then we did the healing brush to get rid of the power lines. And then we went to the brush tool to enhance the wall and the upper corners, okay? So the tool we're picking now is, as I said, it's the Vignette. It's down here. All right, so I'm going to touch that with your finger. Okay. Now, this puts corners and darkens the corners on all four corners evenly. You see that blue dot? I'm moving it with my finger. Just moving it around. You can put it anywhere you want. Back in the center now. And so we'll watch what happens. You can make this, you can, using your claws, right? You can make it bigger or smaller. And by bigger, you're making less impact. By smaller, you're making more. So we don't want the tree to get affected, so we're just going to work outside. This tool works from right to left. Most of them work from left to right. So we're going to take my finger and I'm going to drag. Watch what happens to the four corners. Obviously too dark. We don't want that much. Generally, a little bit is all you need. You find a place that's about right. Maybe there. That's about right. I don't want it to be too dark. There it is before. There it is after. I'm not crazy about it, to be honest. Not crazy about it. I think I'm going to cancel that myself. I don't like it. Boom. Done. See, that's how it works. You try something, you don't like it, cancel it. Nothing's broken. All right? Can't break anything here. Okay, so let's finish the picture off, ready to be printed on a canvas frame. Right? These are from Easy Prints, easycanvasprints.com. I got 3 for $45. I'm not promoting them. I have no business with them. They're just good at what they do. All right. So let's finish the picture off. So what's the last tool we might look at? Okay. How about frames down here? Frames. Everyone see that? Open up your picture and look at frames. So frames allows you to put a frame around the picture. It can be black or white. I usually start with white. And again, using your finger, you can make the frame as big or small as you want, okay, to fit the picture. So I like to start with maybe that much white, click OK, and then do it again. And this time I'm going to add a black frame. This is particularly good if you're posting on Instagram, because it makes a very nice look. You see that? You've got a nice white line in the middle. You can make the black line as fine as you want, right? Or as thick as you want, let's say around there, all right? Then you go down here if you like it, and you click OK. All right? Everyone got that? Try it out, do a couple. There's all sorts of different frames. Some of them are very funky and interesting. Again, you can make them any size you want. So let's say we're happy with this. Okay, I'm good with this. Good to go. Now again, for the woman who asks, how do I do that? Simply press your finger on the screen. You'll get the before. This is before we did anything, right? This is straight out of the camera, no adjustments at all. Walking down the road, this is the picture you took. That's the picture you're going to work with, and that's what we did. All right. Now this is an important part. You're going to export the photo. Okay. So you hit the word export. Let's do that again. Down here, lower right corner, export. These are the options, okay? The one we always want to use, and not that, we always want to use save a copy, because if you don't, you'll destroy the original. You know, not that I wouldn't mind destroying that original, there's nothing special about it, but for some people, you know, you have special pictures, you don't want to lose them, right? Children, animals, you know, family, you don't want to lose those pictures. So save a copy. So I'm going to hit save a copy with my finger, boom. And now the picture is finished. Now, so I zoom out, I go back to my camera, and guess what's in my camera? The picture we just did. And now you can see it at a decent size, right? I see some other stuff that needs to be retouched. Look at this line here. I'm not crazy about that. Right. So that's the process of initially editing in Snapseed with these kinds of photos. The next,
Richard,
yes?
can I ask you, what's the difference between save a copy and export?
Export just allows you the options. Let's go back there again to Snapseed. Export allows you these different options, right? You can open in a different app by clicking here. You can share on Facebook or Instagram here, or you can just save a copy. Now it says you can undo it, but it's not as easy as save a copy. Save a copy is, for me, the best way. So I always know I have the original still on the phone. I haven't lost it. So let's hit export, finishes the work, save a copy. See, it's applying all the changes. And when it saves right on your phone. And what's sitting next to it? Oh, not that. All right. No, sorry, wrong picture. There you are. Okay. So any questions on any of that before we move on? Okay. Everyone's good with that? All right.
Sorry, Richard. One question popped up. It's what was the name of the tool that you used to erase edit parts again? Is it a photo stylus? Is that?
No, it's just called a stylus. It's called a stylus. If you go to Amazon and just type in iPhone stylus, you'll see many different models. It doesn't really matter which. I don't even remember the name of this one. I've had it for years. They're all about.
Yeah, I have a question. How do you check the original compared to the one that you did? I wasn't sure how you do that.
Oh, okay, good.
What do you press to get the original and the one that you've been working on?
You press right on the screen with your finger. You just literally touch the picture.
Oh, you press the picture and then it shows the original?
Yes. Now see, there's the original. Now I lift my finger off and there's the finished picture. Press, let go.
Okay.
Got it. Good. Okay. All good? Ready to move along?
Thank you.
Time is flying. Wow. All right. So just give me a
Could I ask another question? Should we hit the export at all or just forget it?
Yes, you have to hit export if you want to save the picture.
So you hit save a copy and then export, but you hit both?
No, export first.
Or you hit export first and then save a copy?
Exactly.
Okay.
Good. Got it? Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I think there's some confusion because after you tap export and you get the menu with the 5 choices, one of the other choices in that window also says export, right below where it says save a copy. Can you explain what the difference is between those two on the bottom there?
I've never actually used that, to be honest, because
That's what
I don't save a copy. But let's press on it and see what happens.
I think it's the same as save a copy. When I have Snapseed, and when I do export, it just goes into my library, the finished image.
Mm-hmm.
I think the difference is save a copy allows you to make changes even after you save a copy. You can undo your changes. And export, the changes are permanent.
Yes.
That
So
seems to be the
keep it simple. Keep everything simple. I mean, you can experiment with all these things, and they may be useful in different ways. You know.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
On the tools, which one do you hit that allowed you to erase the telephone lines?
It's called the healing brush. Let me bring that up.
So you go to brush.
No, it's not brush. No, it's called healing. It's actually in Photoshop. It's called a healing brush. It's right over here. Let me get my mouse. It's just the word healing. They don't add brush to it.
Okay, thank you.
But in Photoshop, it's called a healing brush.
And what do you use the brush for? The healing will erase things, right? But the brush is used for what?
For either making things darker or lighter, or adding color or removing color.
Okay, so the brush is for color and
Lightening and darkening.
light, and the healing is to erase things.
Exactly.
Right, thank you.
Okay. The next one we're going to work on is portraits. Let me find a portrait first. Take a minute here. Okay. Sorry about all that. There's no other way to get there. Okay, we're going to work on a portrait now. You know, as I said, Snapseed is a very deep program. We could make this class could probably last 3 hours if you wanted to. But these are important features, so we'll work with those. So we have this photo, and we're going to, let me see, I get to get this open in Snapseed. Let's see. Okay, now you see how I got that? I went up here and I hit open, and I hit open latest image. Okay, open latest image. So the first thing about this is the background's kind of orangey looking. This is when you take photos indoors of people, especially using overhead, you know, regular lighting. The color tends to get overly warm, too orangey looking. It's not natural, right? So what tool will we use to fix that? Let's open the Tools menu and see. Up here on the upper right, you see white balance. White balance. This is a tool that corrects incorrect colors. Not perfectly, but it does a pretty good job. So I hit white balance, and there's a menu that comes up. The only thing we're going to do in here is very simple. You see this eyedropper thing down here on the lower right, like a little eyedropper. Press your finger on that, and this tool comes up over the face. Now watch what happens when I move it around with my finger, not the stylus. See, the whole picture is now corrected. The background looks like the wall that was actually there. And her skin tone is much better. All right. That's all we're going to do with that. Very useful tool for a quick, that's before and after. Before, you see the difference in color? See, it goes from too warm to natural. Before, after. That's all we're going to do in the balance, balance tool, white balance. Okay. The next tool is absolutely amazing. It's down here. It's called Portrait. Portrait. If you like to shoot people, animals, pets, babies, whatever, this is a good place. Okay. Now you'll notice down the bottom it offers you a lot of different options. But we'll do that later. Let's start with the menu that we have here. See where my mouse is in the middle? Press your finger on that. Okay. Now notice again up at the top it says Face Spotlight, which is where we are now. Face Spotlight. This goes from left to right. So let's see what that does. Again, just using my finger, right, to sliding from left to right. See what's happening to her face? See, all the way from there to, again, you don't want to go all the way with anything. That's usually too much. Let's say around there. There's the before of this tool. You see that? Boom. Quite a difference. It's called a face spotlight. It just doesn't change the whole picture, just the face, right? Let's go back to the menu again, down here. Okay, so we use face spotlight. Let's go up, slide that menu up, using the finger, just using the finger like this, right? Skin smoothing. Got that? Everyone got that? Skin smoothing. That menu there, sliding up, down. We did face spotlight, now we're doing skin smoothing. All right. Sheesh. Okay. Let's see what happens with skin smoothing. In fact, let's mag it up so we can see it better. All right. You know what? This picture's not sharp. I've been preaching pictures have to be sharp. Watch what happens with skin smoothing. Isn't that amazing? It's like the cover of one of those magazines. Right? Maybe about there. Before, after. Nice. Now, okay, so the last one we're going to do is called eye clarity. Eye clarity. Okay, let's see what happens with that. How about that? It just works on the eye, not the rest of the face. How do they do that? I have no idea. You just need, you don't want it to be too much, because now she looks like, you know, some demon creature. So maybe just, you know, isn't that much better? Look at that. Boom. So I'm okay with that. All right. Now, since we're short on time, I'm not going to go through all the different things you can do here. So I'd advise you to find some, you know, people shots that you like. Do what we just did, but play with all the other things. Play with all the things we did. You know, as I said, you can't break anything, right? You don't like it, just cancel it, right? Play with it, all right? Now again, this was we didn't do this because I generally don't do this, but you can they have these different options here. If you press your finger on each one, you'll see her picture change as I touch each one. You see? So these are kind of automatic. I'm just touching the picture down the bottom. That one's not bad. Maybe. If I don't want any of them, I just go back to the first one because that's the original. All right, over on the left. So we're going to go out of here, click the OK button on the right, and we're going to sharpen her a little bit because it's not very sharp. Where do we do that? Up here, right next to the tool and image, that first tool we use, details. Details. All right. There are two options in here. One is called structure, which we're not going to, you never really use that on the face. That's more for like landscapes, things like that. We're just going to use sharpening. Sharpening. Okay. So up at the top. Now, again, it slides from the left over to the right with your finger. And again, to see it clearly, bring the picture up a bit bigger. Watch in particular her eye. See the details quite a bit better. I mean, you can never really fix an unsharp picture if the original is not really sharp. There's only so much you can do, right?
Which tool are you using?
This is called, let me go back to this. This is called the detail. Hold on a second. I'm going to get out of here and start over again on this. The tool we're using is up here. It's right next to an image. It's called details.
Oh, thank you.
Details. There are two choices in there. We're going to use the one that says sharpening. Okay? So we mag her up. Again, you slide from left to right. And again, you don't want to do too much. So maybe around there is good. All right? Looking much better. All right. So now we're going to look at a really fun tool that you'll have a lot of fun with. Right next to portrait, it says head pose. Head pose. Right? Head pose. All right. Now this does some really quirky things. All right. Ooh, we're having a thunderstorm here. The choices here are pupil size, smile, and focal length. What does focal length mean? Well, it means either a long lens like a telephoto or a short lens like the normal lens on a camera. So let's start with pupil size, which means the eyes, obviously. So let's zoom the eye up and see what happens with pupil size. It's a little weird, right? But again, on certain people that might be effective, you know, especially if one eye is closed and the other is not. You ready for this one? Now this one is a killer. This is just too much. It's called smile. Watch what happens. How about that? Isn't that crazy? I mean, obviously you can overdo it, but, and again, the opposite is, you know, it's, you just want to apply a little bit. Maybe that's too much.
That is the funniest.
Isn't that great? Yeah. Now, focal length just sort of distorts the face. I mean, this is fun if you want to make it kind of a cartoonish type of face. Send it to one of your friends, right? So that's the again, you can play a whole lot in here. I'm not going to save that because I don't particularly like it, but those are options you have available.
Richard, I had a quick question.
Okay.
When you sharpened her eye, I didn't notice if you went ahead and sharpened the second eye, Or did you just do the one because of the way she's facing into the camera?
It automatically does both. It's hard to narrow it down to one.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, okay, yeah.
But if I want to, for example, if I thought her left eye was a little too dark, here's a very quick solution. And you
You
just
may have
slide
lightened it
through.
down.
You go back to your brush tool,
Mm-hmm.
and you go over to dodge and burn, which means lighten and darken.
Yeah.
And hold on a second. You get the brush. I don't want it that bright, so I'm going to do a +5 only on.
What are you doing now?
I'm just demonstrating. I'm demonstrating that we can use the brush tool to lighten an eye.
Oh,
See, now I'm painting on the left eye. On the light. See how it became brighter.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's nice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you have many options. Many options. So maybe I would finish it off with a nice frame of some kind, maybe a white frame. I like number 7 a lot. But look at that. It has a very funky kind of look.
Mm-hmm. I'm a photographer, Richard, so I'm good.
Uh-huh. Okay. So you know what I'm talking about here.
I do.
Yeah, so and then this is fine because again you can make it any size you want.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah, that's nice.
Hey, Richard,
Yes.
we had another question. Where did you find, it says, how did you find the eyes and smile tool? What
Okay. Good.
icon
All
is
right.
that under?
Okay. Tools.
What's under head?
Head pose. It's down here next to portrait. Let me get the mouse and point it at right here. You see, right next to head pose, portrait. All right. So, how are we doing for time?
Let's see. It's just 3 o'clock now. So
Okay.
we have until 3:30.
Okay. All right. So let's say we like that. We hit export, right? And you hit save a copy, and that will go to your camera. Okay.
I like how you finalized it with the framing.
Yeah, it's a little,
Little funky, but it's very nice. Very
yeah,
nice.
yeah. Thank you. Okay. Next idea. Let's see. There's so many things to do in Snapseed. Let me have a look here. Oh, I know what we're going to do. Excuse me a moment while I go back to my camera and retrieve another photo. Okay. We're going to take this photo, which was on Rye Beach, Rye Playland, and we're going to bring it into Snapseed. No, not you. I hit open, and I hit cancel there. I hit open. That's not what. Open. What? Don't go away.
Why would I be getting a message that says could not save image?
That does happen. Yes. Glad you found that. It sometimes does happen. I'm not sure exactly why, but what I usually do is try one of the other options. Try the export down the bottom, or try open in at the top there. Okay, got it. Okay, thank you. Sorry. So I like this image. It needs some work. I saw it as sort of somewhat romantic back in the day when we used to be able to walk around at masks. Are those days? It's like a long time ago. So we're Snapseed again. And the tool we're going to play with this time is tools. We're going to use one called lens blur. Now, photographers, Colette, you know about this. Lens blur is one of the ways we use to make backgrounds soft, you know, when you don't want everything in the picture sharp, you want some of it sharp, some of it not sharp, right? We're going to go with lens blur. This menu opens. Now, it's kind of similar to the Vignette, except this one's even more flexible, because taking your two fingers, your grapple, you can shake this. So I want the people in the middle to stay sharp, and I want to soften everything around them, right? I want to create an atmosphere, right? So again, you see up in the top here, it's a left to right, left to right here. This is a blur spread. Now it's 30. Let's move it along. Let's slide up. See what happens as we go. I'm going to apply a lot because I'm going to show you another tool that's absolutely off the scale, right? Okay.
Richard, I have a quick question. Is this acceptable in photojournalism, or is that just considered changing the image too much?
I would say it depends on the
Editor.
situation. I mean, if the editor says do it any way you want, make it romantic, you know, allows you to play. They say just show me the shot straight, then you don't do anything. Just that's what my message is. If you just take photos with your camera, the way 99% of people do, right? They don't know anything about the tools. They don't care about the tools. The photo looks fine. I took it with my phone. It's a perfect photo, right? Well, that's not enough for a photographer. That's just unacceptable, right? So you can define the pictures by either a document, which is literally the way the image is, no changes of any kind, which is what photojournalism is really about. You're telling the truth. This is the picture. It's true. That's what happened. My approach is we don't take pictures, we make pictures. Now, it's a more artistic concept. It's not documentary. You're making images the way you imagine them to be. So we make pictures, not take pictures. Okay? That's what we're doing here. We're making pictures. We're adding our own ideas to it. And we have all the tools to do it. Within, I think you've probably seen, just click back here for a minute. You see all those? They're all photo apps. Next page, all photo apps. I use all of them. Trust me, I use all of them. You don't need to. It's because I am an obsessed maniac. That's why.
Hooray! That's great. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's really
Yeah. So you mean you might want to take a photo, a screenshot of this just to check out the possible great apps. Every one of these are absolutely brilliant.
Wow. That's,
you know, for different reasons. But there's your camera up in the right there. There's all sorts of other cameras. There's camera 2, which is an amazing camera. It does things the phone camera can't do. This one does things the camera can't do. Here's Photoshop Fix. Now that's an app you might want to download.
I do have that one. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a great app.
it's nice.
If you want to turn your photos into watercolor, this is a lovely app, right? These are all black and white films, like named like Tri-X, the old world of, you know, photography. And they all do different things. They're all great for different reasons, right? This is also a painting app called Brushstroke, right? So let's go back.
Some of them cost money and some of them are free.
Exactly. Some of them are free. Most of them, the good ones, here's a few I'd recommend. You could definitely have fun with. Superimpose. I think that's $4.99 in the App Store. Superimpose is fabulous. Photoshop Fix. Waterlog.
Waterlog?
Waterlog. L-O-G-U-E. Waterlog.
What is that renowned for? What does that do?
Oh, I'll show you. It does amazing things. I'll show you right now, matter of fact. You open the app. Down here, it says camera. Put your finger on there. And it asks you where you'd like to get the photo from, photo library, and all your pictures about. Okay? I'm going to pick the first picture I see, that one. It's my tool shed in the backyard. There it is, already painted. Right? Now, some pictures work better than others. You have these different choices down here. I'm going to find a better picture. That's not a particularly good picture for painting. Let me see. Something more. Oh, there's a nice one. I think that's painted already. So,
Oh, that's nice.
Uh,
Wow, wow. Nice.
there's a nice one.
Hmm.
I'm just looking for a good picture to paint. Hold on a sec.
Waterlog. Huh.
Oh, here it is. Okay.
Have you used something called On One?
I haven't, no.
Okay. You do have to pay for that, but it's pretty interesting. It's I guess it's close to Photoshop, but it's supposed to be a little bit easier, but it's got very similar tools.
Oh, Photoshop's gotten expensive. You got to pay a monthly fee for it now.
Yeah, you know, you just pay. You know, what are you supposed to do? You just, you know, you take it off on your taxes. What do you?
Exactly. Well, I have an old iMac with 3 versions of Photoshop on it.
Question. So the instructions for this session also did ask us to download 2 specific apps, probably from the screen that you were just showing, Distressed FX and Superimpose X.
Yes, exactly.
A couple minutes to show us something about those?
Yes, absolutely. So as you press different pictures here, watch the photo will change. There's a different version.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, it's, oh wow, fun.
Right?
Which app is that?
This is called Waterlog.
Waterlog. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Richard, could you show us the original? How it looks?
Yes. Okay.
Mm.
It doesn't work with every photo. But, you know, certain photos just seem to work much better. And I need to find a different image to work with here.
I don't know. I know. It was very hot outside. Oh, let me.
Well, we could actually do this one. Yeah, let's open that one. Okay, so again, Waterlog is catching up. It takes a while for Zoom to catch up sometimes. Waterlog is right here, right here. And as soon as you select a photo, it does it right away. Let me find what I was better photo. Some photos, maybe we can try a bowl of fruit. How about that?
Mm. Mm. Mm.
What? That's weird. Why is it doing that? Oh. So again, I just want to quickly show these things as they're, you know. So you can try all the different ones. They all look slightly different. And then when you like the one you have, you go here and you press 12. What that does, it makes it higher quality. It
Right.
ups the resolution. So it makes it more ready to print, if you like. Okay. Again, not all pictures work with this, but it's worth playing with because you can get some amazing pictures sometimes. Let me go back here. Where were we? We're still in. We were in waterlog. I was going to show you something else too.
And then someone asked you about the distressed FX.
Oh yes, yes. Let's look at that. That's a lovely tool. That's a beautiful tool. A lot of my photos have distressed effects in it. Basically, distressed effects adds atmosphere. It adds sort of any kind of photo to work with. It works best from more open sky kind of pictures. You know, you have plenty of space. You find a suitable type of photo. Okay. There's a picture I did with distressed effects. All right. I'm trying to find the original there. So I need a picture that's not again, you need photos that have space around. You can use that. Okay, this will work. Sorry, it takes time for the zoom to catch up. Okay, so there's a plain photo, right? This was again over Mamaroneck, not much going on in this. Now, usually before I use any of these other apps, I always
Is this frozen for everyone?
It's frozen for me.
Oh, wait. Okay. He just came out of it. Let me let him know. Richard, can you hear me? You're frozen. Second. Richard, you're muted.
Okay, how's that?
That's much better.
Okay,
You froze up for a second there.
okay.
Must have had. I know there's thunderstorms here too, so I don't know if that's part
Yeah,
of it.
it's probably messing with it. I need to. Oh.
Oh, we're viewing someone else's screen. Hold on a second. Okay.
Okay, good. Am I still screen sharing here?
No, your
No,
screen sharing went off.
okay, good. We'll hook up again.
Okay. We have about 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right.
I know that's not a lot, but we can also do another program.
Yes.
Too.
Very good. Okay, we're back. All right. Where were we? We're in distressed effects. Right here. Ah, good. It came back. Okay. So as I was saying, we have textures on the bottom. Oh, by the way, this is the place that you can put birds in your photograph. Okay, you can put birds in the photograph here. You see this little bird here? All right. I'm going to press on bird. And you have all these birds. You see all these different pictures with birds. And I'm going to pick this one here. And there they are. You can make them bigger or smaller. You can move them anywhere around.
What kind of birds are they?
No idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I have my own. I take pictures of, I have pictures of like a flock of geese that I put up. But this is very nice. You have like lots of birds to try. Now, you can also lower the opacity of the bird so they're not quite so dominant, just by sliding back and forth. Maybe about there, maybe. Click OK. Now we're going to add a texture. So we're just going to scroll through some. So that's texture one. It's called overlay. All right. So isn't that nice? I mean, it just kind of adds a whole other atmosphere to the picture. Again, I would work with Snapseed in this picture first. I'm just trying the different textures.
Making it kind of archival or looking old or.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. It's the word distress. They look like kind of old.
Yeah.
Kind of beat up. They have some lovely things too, though. Some of them have kind of grainy, noisy looking, you know. And again,
Gosh.
yeah.
So this really, what you said earlier, you're making photographs more than taking photographs.
Exactly. Exactly. So this is not documentary photography. That's a whole other world. Talk to the photojournalist about that. This is about, you know, if you have unresolved painting issues, this is a good place to work them out. But where you're making pictures. All right. Now again, you can add these top ones too, which I don't always use. Sometimes this is in addition to the texture. Sometimes it's kind of overkill, but sometimes it adds a nice touch. It's all up to you. You know, I mean, that's a nice look. It's kind of an old sepia,
Yes.
kind of old world looking picture. So let's say we like that. Okay. Up in the top here, see this little arrow? That arrow saves it back to your camera. Saved. We go back to our camera.
Distressed.
And there it is.
Gosh.
So that's distressed effects. Lovely tool to play with. You, as I said, it works better with some pictures than others. Not obviously with people pictures, but landscapes, seascapes, lakes, rivers, skies particularly are great. Clouds are great. Trees of all kinds are great. Open fields, you know, those kinds of things. Mountain shots. Yeah, it's very nice. I mean, it just gives the picture a different atmosphere altogether. Well, I think we're about winding down.
Richard, we get just 2 more questions, I believe.
Yes.
Let me see. Do you have any other recommendations for painting or watercolor apps besides
Yes.
Waterlog?
Yes, I have one other here.
Okay.
It's called Simply Water. Simply Water. Very nice. It says, opens like that. Down here it says Get Photo.
Yeah.
See?
Oh, gosh.
Now I'll go to the second one. So each one you press on down here on the bottom, there's a different version. That one, notice how the back of the seat is expressed differently in that one. That's interesting too. Wow. You see what I mean about making pictures and not taking pictures?
Yeah. And one other, oh, sorry. There was one other question about dog photos.
Yeah.
Someone's asking you, how do you fix dog's eyes? It says Snapseed doesn't see a dog in portrait mode. I guess it's only recognizes human faces.
Yes. Well, no, not really. No, I take shots with portrait mode of flowers, leaves, you know, because it does that beautiful soft focus background thing. It's like Colette. It's like shooting a 105 portrait lens f2. You know, you can make a beautiful soft background, right? So this is a fabulous tool as well. I really like this one because it's very subtle. It looks kind of funky. Let me save that one and see what it looks like saved.
Excuse me, Richard. I think what was meant by that question is in Snapseed, when you go to the portrait tool, and I think someone was saying it only recognizes a face, a human face, so you can fix the eye on a human face, but not necessarily on a dog's face. Is that what the question was? Somebody?
Yeah, you know, I don't have a dog, so I've never actually tried that. But I would say if the dog's eyes were, if he has really dark eyes and you can't see them very well, use the brush tool that we went through and make them a little lighter. Just paint over the eye, it'll become lighter. You know, maybe it'll be a +5 brighter, right?
Richard, the photo that I have, the eyes of the dog are just like 2 pinpoints of white, and it makes the dog look like a ghost. There's no pupil.
Probably not a whole lot you can do. You know, you're saying it's like a very bright white eye kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's like 2 pinpoints of light.
Well, you know what? Send me the photo. Get my email from Rosemary, and I'll have a look at it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So there you go. These are all the lovely tools. You know, just keep trying these different ones. That's nice too. I'm just pressing different setups here. These are probably for portraits. These ones down here are more for faces than landscapes, but they all look fine to me.
Richard, a quick question. When you've been manipulating photos, have you ever had a problem uploading to either Instagram or Facebook?
No.
After you manipulate it? No.
No. No. So we let's say we like this. Let's see, where did we go? Here we go. Set down the bottom there. See, it says save. Hit save. Now it takes a little longer here because we're doing a lot of work. You can imagine how many zeros and ones are flying around in there. Go back to your camera and guess who's there. Isn't that cool? So there you have it. These are the toys you can play with in your camera. And you know, it's as a photographer, when you know Colette, I mean, 10 years ago, none of this was possible. You know, I didn't even start taking photos with my phone till about 3 years ago. I was so fed up slapping my cameras in a bag full of Canon cameras, you know, gets kind of heavy. And then you have to change the lenses, and you got to, you know, you got to download to Photoshop later with the chip and edit in photo. Yeah, enough already. This is much easier. You have the camera with you all the time. I did want to mention, in case you didn't get.
Richard, I
Yes?
want to ask you, Photoshop that you put in your computer, is that pretty much the same as what we're doing now?
No, Photoshop in the computer is very much more advanced. It's a full professional tool for photo editing. I mean,
Okay, and this is close to it then, but not the same.
not the same. Yeah, if you get Photoshop fixed, it's actually a Photoshop product. I think you have to pay for it. I'm not sure. It's probably like $4.99 and $2.99. It's worth having. You can do a lot of stuff in Photoshop fix that you can't do in Snapseed, right? Like the clone tool, for example. Yeah.
Oh, but those are one-off payments.
Yeah, they're one-off. Yeah.
I'll let you.
If they ask you for monthly payments, don't sign up. I haven't installed Photoshop Fix for a long time. Some people said they're charging fees for it now, monthly fees.
Yes, they're charging a lot of money.
Yeah.
Is that
I'm a photographer, graphic designer, illustrator, so I get the suite, and I pay over $600 a year. But I have use of about 10 or at least 10 to 12 Adobe softwares. That includes, you know, I could edit movies.
Right.
Yeah, Lightroom. I use Lightroom and Photoshop for my photography, and also for painting illustrations in Photoshop.
I have Lightroom here also up in the top here.
Yeah, but right. So, but now you can't buy it. You have to rent it and pay a fee every month, and so, or you pay by the year. So, like I said, I pay 600 something a year to use these softwares. And they have different levels. If you don't want all of them, if you just want like the photographers, I guess it's Lightroom and Photoshop. It's a lesser amount of money, but because I'm a graphic designer, I use InDesign also. So yeah.
But on the iPhone, Lightroom, I think it's like $3.99 or $4.99. I don't think there's any recurring fees, but I can't vouch for that. I downloaded this a long time ago.
Richard, what iPhone are you using? What number?
I'm using the 11 Pro Plus Max.
Is the camera much different than, I still have an iPhone 8, I think, 7 or 8. Is the camera much different?
The camera's not a whole lot different, except they have, you can see the back here, it's got the wide angle lens.
Yeah.
And the wide angle lens is fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. I'll try to find a picture I did a while ago. Just give me a moment here.
While you're searching, what about the resolution? Is the resolution, can you take photos at a much higher resolution on that camera as opposed to my iPhone 8?
Not really. You can change the resolution. There's one app I showed you called, oh boy, it's going through my entire library here. See, Zoom takes a long time to catch up. What I would recommend if you want a more professional camera is Camera Plus 2. I'm not sure what the price in that is, but it's a very, very useful tool. It's a really advanced tool. You know,
Camera Plus 2.
Camera Plus 2. It allows you to do things like very slow shutter speeds, for example. Let's say you've got a beautiful scene in front of you with a running stream, and you want that water kind of cotton woolly looking and everything else sharp. That's the camera to use for that. It has more features. It also has depth of field, which will let you know about. In other words, you can change the f-stop, which is a bit like the portrait lens on this camera. You can change the f-stop too. Any other painting apps? There's one called Brushstroke that's really beautiful. A little different. It's not really watercolor. There's all kinds of oil. Fritz does all those things.
What's the app? Did you say that you have an app that increases resolution on photos? Because I have an issue when I want to enlarge photos, you know, bigger than 8 by 10, and I start losing resolution.
Right, right. I don't actually have an app for that. You know, the only way to do it is to start with try to shoot the photo if you have the opportunity, that is, where you don't need any cropping at all. In other words, frame it exactly the way you want it, so you don't have to change the size of it.
No
That will give you better resolution. You know, because if you crop it, then it gets more and less resolved. It gets more noisy, right?
Richard, do you know what the high end of the resolution is from an iPhone? I mean, you know, so in other words, at 300 DPI or even 200 DPI, if you want to do an enlargement, how large can an iPhone photo be enlarged to?
I would say if it's well shot, in other words, it's sharp, really sharp, that's very important if you're going to blow it up. It has to be really sharp. Now, does everyone remember how we made sharp photos at the beginning of the other class? Right? Yes? No?
No.
I know you had the
Okay.
sharpening tool.
Let's do that quickly.
I know you were using the sharpening tool.
Okay. So let's say we're shooting in photo mode, right? You press your finger on and then once you see that on the top, that picture is as sharp as it can be. Now, if you move the camera, of course, it's different. How do you get out of that? Just touch the screen again. Now, you can put this anywhere you want. It doesn't have to be dead center. No, we're not using portrait mode. You can put this anywhere you want on the screen. Just touch the screen and touch it again. Right? You put it anywhere you want, and then press and hold, and you get AF, auto exposure, auto F, autofocus lock. In other words, it's going to stay sharp. Everyone good with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So get back to your how enlarged. I'd say if it's properly shot, sharp, and exposure is good, you could probably do a 16 by 20. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm going to have to look. I'm going to write that question down about the resolution. I'll look it up later.
You're saying with an iPhone you can go to 16 by 20?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it's not going to be as fine as a picture out of a, a high-end Canon, obviously, right? If you're shooting out of a high-end Canon at maximum resolution, right? Oh, by the way, you can shoot raw images in Camera Plus. Now, raw images are much higher resolution. They're a little more difficult to edit because they're bigger. They're consequently a bit slow. But in Camera Plus 2, they have raw. That's a professional camera feature too. Most pros like to shoot raw because it allows you more editing options. So the iPhone camera itself does not have raw.
The problem, of course, is your storage space.
There you go. You see, you can't have 1,000 raw pictures on your phone. You wouldn't have any room at all.
Yeah.
You'd have to empty the file all the time.
Yeah.
So generally, you know, most people are not going to use the phone like this. As I said, most people walking around with the phone, they'll take the picture, it's fine. That's it. Don't need anything else. So this is for people who like to take it a little further, have some fun, play in these times of being housebound and all that stuff. And also, let me say, also explore Instagram. There's some amazing, beautiful photography. If you
Yeah.
look in there, you know, you can find stuff that just blow your mind, things that are people doing. It's amazing. Yeah.
You've been inspiring me to do a lot more with my photos. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, good. That's the whole thing. That's the job.
Absolutely.
So I think we're about done.
Oh, wow, this is good.
One more question. What was the website you use that prints your photos on canvas?
Oh, it's called easycanvasprints.com.
Easy. I'm just going to type that in.
Yeah.
.com. Okay.
I mean, there's plenty of others, but that one did a pretty good job. They have good deals.
I had something I just wanted to share very quickly. Are most of you in Rockland?
Yes, I am. I'm in New
Yes.
City.
Because I've had a lot of luck with the Palisades art and print shop, the frame shop.
Oh,
He's got a really beautiful, huge Canon printer, and he's been making prints for me for years, and I'm really very happy with his service. And
where's he located?
He's on the first floor of the Palisades Mall next to Best Buy.
Okay.
I'm in Florida right now, so I just don't know if the mall is even open. Can someone tell me?
It's not open yet.
It's not open, no.
Okay, but he's really great to deal with. He does beautiful framing, so I've really been using him for printing and framing. And a very, very nice guy. He's been in business over there about 20-something years.
Okay.
Does he do canvas print? Does he print on
does.
canvas?
Yes, he does. I believe so. I do believe he prints canvas. Yeah.
So
But if he doesn't, he's really happy to work with artists, you know, anything that they need.
Great, thank you. What's the name again?
Palisades Art and Frame. It's right next to Best Buy. It's next to the Best Buy entrance.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Any more questions?
Great. Thank you so much. This has been wonderful. Thank
Are you going to do another class?
We'd love to have Richard back.
I'd love to carry on.
Okay.
Oh, good. Very good. You know, we might want to.
Software. So it's just a different app for us to learn.
Yes. We can definitely, I will talk to Richard about that, but I would be happy to have him back.
He's back to business.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. I typed Richard's email address into the chat.
Yeah.
If anyone's interested, and I'm also going to post this recording on our Nyack Library's website.
Rosemary,
Yes.
I have to leave you. I have to.
Okay.
Excellent class. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Richard. I'll talk to you soon.
Make photos.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Yes. Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good day.